Hey, welcome to TALC Camp Bible Study. I'm here bringing our study this evening. First, going to start off with reading Matthew 16, 26 through 24. Then Jesus told his disciples, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul?" Denying self, losing your life, forfeiting our soul, those are some really heavy words that Jesus gives us in this passage in Matthew. They don't feel very happy or very comfortable, but Jesus said them, so there must be something to them, right? This weekend with Talk Camp, Jason's going through the book of Haggai and sharing with us how the people of Israel were putting themselves first over God and his plans. Scripture is covered with this encouragement of putting God first. So let's take a little bit more look at this idea. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning. We know that God created the heavens and the earth, all the animals, all the fish, all the birds, and he called it good. And he created Adam and Eve too. And he said that it was very good. But in Genesis chapter 3, things start to change. Verse 6 says, "So when woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to her eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she ate the fruit, gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate." So we can see three things happening, three ways that both Adam and Eve were putting themselves above God. Eve and Adam's three priorities were physical needs. She saw that the fruit was good for food. They were putting forth desire. She saw that it was a delight to her eyes, and also wisdom and self-sufficiency and status. It was good to make her wise. Students, the fall of mankind is rooted in putting ourselves before God. Adam and Eve, they lived in paradise. They had all their needs met. They had the beauty of creation all around them. They had intimate fellowship with both God and each other. There was no sin, no pain, no war, no fear, no tears, absolutely nothing bad. It was perfect. They really couldn't ask for anything more. And yet, they chose themselves over God's perfect plan. They chose to stop trusting God for his provision, for his fellowship and intimacy, and knowing what was best for them. What they wanted ultimately was to be like God, to take care of their immediate needs, their immediate desires, over trusting God to take care of them. Similarly, the Israelites, as Jason's been sharing, were putting their needs over trusting God. They built their houses first, showing that they had to take care of their needs first instead of trusting God and his plan. This last year, I have had some weird food and health issues. Suddenly, my body started reacting to foods it never had before. I was having full body itching and migraines and wheezing and stomach aches and on these weird things were happening. So finally, after some testing and trial and error, I now have this long list of foods I can't eat. But here's the thing, it's really hard. When that tub of ice cream comes out smothered with hot fudge, I really want it. Or when we go to Panda Express as a family and I see that honey walnut shrimp with the chow mein, I really want to have it too. But even more, going to Santa Rosa, going to Starbucks, I just want a venti iced mocha. And if I did that, it would satisfy those immediate desires. I see something I wanted, I take it, I'm satisfied. But later, I would pay for it. I would regret it. So what are some of your desires? What are your wants of right now? Now listen, not all of them might be sin or bad per se. I mean, ordering a coffee isn't sin, right? But I want to challenge you to think, is this God's best? So what are some of those desires? Social media, gaming, partying with your friends, sexual sin, drugs, alcohol, cheating at school. Again, some of your priorities might not be inherently bad, but sin, as we saw from Adam and Eve, is putting ourselves first above God. all these things that are satisfying our immediate desires over God's best, those would be sin. These things are ingrained in us because of our fallen nature. It's natural for us to want to put our desires first, but it's not God's way. So how do we get out of this? We want to seek God first, but how do we break this cycle? Well, I got bad news for you. We can't. Because if we were doing it, we still would be exalting ourselves above God. But Jesus can, and he did. 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide a way of escape so that you may be able to endure it." And Hebrews 4:15 says, "For we do not have a high priest," this is referring to Jesus, "who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin." So these verses show us two things. First, we have a way out. And second, Jesus understands, was tempted, but he didn't sin. But how does this work? Well, if we go into Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11, we see a season right before Jesus' public ministry where he experienced a lot of these temptations. Let's take a look. "Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came to him and said, 'If you're the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread.' But Jesus answered, 'It is written, man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God.'" So here we see priority number one, those physical needs, just like Eve desired the fruit for food. Here Jesus is encountering the desire for physical need to be met. Jesus had not eaten or had anything to drink for 40 days. It says he was hungry. He could have turned those stones into bread, but he knew his Father's plan, his purpose, his desire, and he resisted that temptation to satisfy that immediate need for what God had for future. Let's continue on in this account in verse 5. "Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, 'If you're the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone.' But Jesus said, 'Again, it is written, you shall not put the Lord to your test.'" Now, check this out. This is priority number two, that idea of status in being known. Like I was saying, Jesus is just about to start his public ministry. Can you imagine being in Jerusalem, being at the temple, and you see Jesus on the top of the temple? He jumps off and you see the heavenly angels come and lift Jesus up. You would take notice. Jesus would have gone viral with that. His public ministry would have gotten off like huge. But again, that was not God the Father's plan. Jesus sacrificed that immediate desire, that immediate being noticed, something that would seem to benefit his public ministry instantly, but instead kept his eyes on the desire and the plans of God the Father. Verse 8, "Again, the devil took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to them, 'All of these I will give to you if you will fall down and worship me.' Then Jesus said to him, 'Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God and serve only him.'" And there we have priority 3, glory. Satan, who's the prince of this world for now, offered Jesus to have it all right now if he would just bow down to him. And once again, Jesus held on to the bigger plan. Jesus knew God's plan that he would save the entire world. But if Jesus bowed down to Satan at that moment, satisfying that immediate desire for glory, it would mean nothing. He kept his eyes on what was ahead. So then the devil left him, and behold, the angels came and ministered to him. So again, we see Jesus tempted just like Adam and Eve in 3 ways: food, desire, and glory. With each temptation, with each opportunity to put self first, Jesus overcame it by keeping his eyes fixed on God. He knew the word, the truth. And that is how we get out. Adam and Eve, they looked to their immediate wants, but Jesus, he denied his immediate wants and was looking forward to what was to come. So what was to come? Guys, the whole point of on this earth and Jesus's plan on this earth was to save us from putting ourselves first. He denied himself all the glory he deserves so he could take our punishment. Adam and Eve, when they turned from God and decided to put themselves first, they also took upon the punishment, consequence, eternity without God. Remember, they knew what intimacy with God was. When they put themselves first, they regretted it immediately. They hid in fear. They blamed each other. A mess was created. But God promised in that moment that he would redeem it. And so that's what Jesus did. He did all the opposite of our sin nature. It's easy for us to think, oh, well, he knew he had to die on the cross, right? So he endured for that. But if you stop right there, it doesn't sound very good, does it? Denying yourself just to die a horrible death. But Jesus was looking even farther than that. He was looking to you right now. He was looking towards you so full of love, wanting to give you a way out, wanting to show you that choosing to put God first above your desires of our flesh, our self-glory, that is the ultimate. It is what he desires of you because he desires you. So today, every day, deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow him.